Now you were just able to read my name and the title of my presentation because your brain knows that all those different loops and lines, they make up words and it translates those words into language that you can then understand. Now this is a fascinating process and it all happens within a split second through the activity of millions of cells in your brain. Together that activity generates electrical signals and they look just like this one. Problem is, we can't just look at these and read them in the same way that we can read those words that were on the slide. Unless you have some idea what this is trying to say, because I definitely don't. But with the latest technology, we're actually closer than ever to being able to do just that. I can now talk into my phone and say, call my mom, or call my mom. And whether I say it high or low, or fast or slow, it usually knows what I'm trying to do. Now this is because it's heard thousands or even millions of examples of this and similar other phrases, and it knows what key parts of the speech to pull out. So I'm using that same type of pattern recognition technology to try and make sense out of these electrical signals from the brain. By placing tiny detectors inside rats' brains, we record these signals as it chooses between one side of a maze or the other. The rat picks the right side, it gets a little bit of sugar water. And just like myself, rats love their sugar. So we repeat this thousands of times with a bunch of different rats, and we get a ton of these signals. Each one's a little bit different from the next. I then use similar technology to what's found in our phones to try and make sense of them, and hopefully, I will be able to say with confidence, based purely on the activities of their brain alone, whether or not that rat received sugar or didn't on each trial of the maze. But who cares? You could just watch the rat go through the maze. You could see if it got the sugar. What do we need all this for? Well, imagine the possibilities here. If we can understand just this simple, basic signal, it's like learning the first words of a new language. And if we can begin to understand this language of the brain, we can maybe diagnose problems with it. I could repeat this same experiment in humans by placing a non-invasive detector on someone's head, recording these similar signals as they choose between one side of a maze or the other on a computer. Now the signals generated from someone with, say, depression would likely be a little bit different from someone without. And this would give us an objective test for these types of psychological disorders. We'd no longer need to rely on surveys and questionnaires, and we could drastically cut down on the overprescription of drugs. Now, this is just one of the many possibilities I'm striving towards in my research, and I hope that you find it as fascinating as I do. Thank you.